So I'm Dick Lindstrom. I'm a practicing ophthalmologist and investor as well. And we're blessed, I think, to have our partners here from the FDA to update us. We have Malvina Eydelman, who is the director of the Office of Ophthalmic, Anesthesia, Respiratory, ENT, and Dental Devices, and also Bill Boyd, lead medical officer at the FDA. Both are, and we're very fortunate about this, both are MDs, both are ophthalmologists. And I think it's fitting that you're the barrier before we get to go to lunch. You're kind of used to being that. But actually, these are our partners, and our partners in innovation. And if you have the time to sit and talk about it, I think many of us are really proud of what we've done in our field, the products we have, both device-wise and the pharmacology products we have, and I think you are as well, right? Because indirectly, they're treating and helping us treat our patients. And I think they understand that, they appreciate that, they feel like they're there in the arena with each of us, basically trying to help take care of our fellow American citizens and neighbors. And I think they actually are very committed and dedicated and do it amazingly well, because it's not easy, right? It's not easy. So I'm going to get out of the way and let Dr. Eydelman start out and bring us up to date, and then Dr. Boyd on what's happening in their areas. And then if we have time, maybe a few questions. And I think we will be able to finish by 12. Malvina, do you want to just sit there or do you want to come up? Either way is fine. I'm going to come and join you. So.
Please.
What would you like?
I'm fine here. But how do I get my slides?
So we need her slides, PowerPoints.
Is that clicker? Oh, the clicker is up there.
Oh, probably you need to use the podium. Yeah.
Okay. If I can have my slides, please. Great. So today I was asked to talk. I'll do a combination. How's that?
Perfect.
So today I was asked to talk about the reorganization for the Center of Devices and Radiological Health, which was formalized yesterday. So OIS is always on the cusp. Today is the official first day of a new structure for CDRH. Over the years, people who come to OIS are used to seeing me on the podium, and I always talk about getting devices to market. That's because over the last 20 years, I have worked in the Office of Device Evaluations, the goal of which was to evaluate and decide which devices can and sometimes cannot reach the market. But Center for Devices and Radiological Health is really involved in all aspects of regulations of medical device, total product life cycle. FDA is involved, believe it or not, all the way from the concept to preclinical, clinical assessment, to pre-market evaluation, and then we're there when the device gets out, and we watch what happens to it when it is on the market, and we decide sometimes together with a company when it's time to get this device off the market. Previously, this is how the Center for Devices and Radiological Health was organized. There were separate offices. For Office of Device Evaluation did the pre-market. Office of Surveillance and Biometrics was traditionally responsible for all of the medical device report evaluations and post-market activities such as helping the device manufacturers design clinical trials for post-approval studies, and then monitoring and evaluating the reports for post-approval studies. Office of Compliance is, just as the name implied, was in charge of all of the compliance, such as warning letters, recalls when things didn't go well, and also scheduling and making sure that all of the inspections for medical device companies occurred in time. With this structure, while everything got done, there was quite often challenges with orchestrating timing and efficiency. So for example, when my office was ready to approve a PMA, we had to send a consult to another office to make sure that the inspection was completed in the proper time, and that same thing with Office of Compliance. When there was a problem with a potential device on the market, the folks in that office had to send a consult to us, because all the subject matter experts lived in my office, to try to say, is this really a problem or not? What should we do? Should we do anything? Should we? And go through the whole menu. So all of that sometimes did create efficiency challenges. As a result, we have decided to reorganize the whole center and create something called Office of Product Evaluation and Quality, or OPEQ for short. Essentially what that means is we combined offices of device evaluation, office of surveillance and biometrics, and office into compliance and OIVD, which you don't care about, all into one super office of product evaluation and quality. This is what the office now looks like. Within that office, we have 9 sub-offices, and the first 7 go by specialty. So Office of Health Technology 1 is my office, and this is what it looks like now. It's a rather large organization with a multi-functional purposes. So as you can see, the current office has 3 different divisions. Division of ophthalmic devices, division of dental, and then a division of anesthesia, respiratory, ENT devices, and sleep devices are in there as well. But the things that you should care about is now we have one single management chains. That means that the same managers are responsible for pre-market, post-market, and compliance actions for all of the ophthalmic devices. Now, if you focus on the division for ophthalmic devices, those of you who've dealt with us in the past probably remember that we had 3 branches. Because we're now incorporating pre-market and post-market into one division, we were able to break it up into 4 teams specific to devices. So each team now has pre-market reviewers, post-market reviewers, and compliance officers, all within each team, which is overseen by an assistant director. So there are going to be 4 assistant directors in the division of ophthalmics reporting to a division director for ophthalmic devices that then reports up to my office. And at the office level, I'm very, very fortunate to have incredibly experienced managers that stayed with me. Many of you know Keisha Alexandra. She has become one of my deputy directors, and she's going to stay directly involved in all of the ophthalmic devices. And any of you who have had any dealings with compliance actions in the past, I'm sure heard of the name Keisha Thomas. She's probably one of the most experienced compliance officers in the whole FDA, and I'm very fortunate to have her as my second deputy. Within the division of ophthalmics, I also am very proud of the fact that I was able to retain all of my managers and all of my experienced reviewers. The only difference is we have added a lot more people, and we're actively hiring. When we're fully staffed, the office is going to be more than 150 people. We're almost there. We've been doing 10 to 15 interviews a week for the last couple of months. We still have a number of slots to fill, If anybody in this room is an ophthalmologist and is interested in career change, please come see me. In the last 10 months, I have hired 2 more ophthalmologists, and I would like to hire at least 1 more. So again, find me if you're thinking of doing something different with your life and contributing to public health. Now, on the chart also, I wanted to point out 2 new kinds of positions that we created that never existed before. One is one of those little pink boxes, and it's safety signal manager. And I'll come back to it in a little while because this is a very important position. The other thing that we've added is 2 people at the office level dedicated to professional development of the staff. The goal is to enhance the retaining of experienced staff, and we hope those positions will help them. Now, one of the important things I want to point out is during the last 10 months as we were piloting this organization, what we did really impacts all of you greatly. Since we had to train everybody in how to do everything, that means the pre-market people had to learn how to do compliance and post-market, and vice versa. Before we went through this exhausting exercise, we have put together a center-level team, and we looked at every single SOP that we had for pre-market, post-market compliance with the goal of simplicity. Essentially, we said, why don't we figure out what it is we actually need to do, what can we eliminate, what can we simplify, and as a result, there was a tremendous, tremendous reduction in SOPs and processes. We have down-delegated signature for a lot of the simple documents. Essentially, we're saying that we want to minimize the number of levels of supervisory signatures that need to be involved in simple decision-making. We're minimizing the number of SOPs. We're simplifying the processes. We're trying to make it as smooth and as easy for both internal and external stakeholders. And after we went through all of that process, then we created training modules to train our staff on how to do functions that they weren't familiar with. So everybody has been at the FDA taking extensive training courses while maintaining their full job, their full day job. Okay. So I just wanted to highlight some of the advantages of this. The office now, while we still are in charge of pre-market review of all of your submissions, the office is the one that's also helping to design all of the post-approval studies. Now, ophthalmology is incredibly lucky compared to other subspecialties in that you have IRIS. IRIS registry provides an incredible opportunity for real-world data. I believe as of 2019, it has about 53 million patients entered with about 240, something like that, 240 million patient data visits. That is an incredible amount of information that can truly revolutionize regulatory science. And with IRIS partnering with Verana Health to try to utilize that data to create real-world evidence, we're very excited in maximizing the utilization of real-world evidence in both pre-market and post-market aspects of our review. The other thing that IRIS will provide very shortly from my conversations with Flora today, it's going to be within the next couple of months, IRIS is going to incorporate patient-reported outcome portals so that PROWL questionnaire is going to be the first one to live there, and shortly to be followed by the mixed questionnaire and the questionnaire for the premium IOLs. So it's going to be an incredible opportunity to utilize that. As far as post-market surveillance, I wanted to make sure that, just to highlight a couple of points, that medical device reporting is now being reviewed by people who review pre-market submissions. So as the reviewer is looking at the pre-market submission, they're also simultaneously looking at the quality of adverse events and the severity of adverse events that occurred before. Again, we're responsible for compliance actions and signal management. We don't have time to discuss it, but I wanted to highlight the importance of signal management and the fact that this Sunday we're going to be spending a couple hours at ASCRS talking about signal management, early utility and utilization. And for those of you who are interested, I welcome you to join us. Overall, just what is the value added to you? Essentially, the key message I want you to leave with is you now have a one-stop shopping. Thank you.
Thank you, Malvina. So I'd like to hear from the other side, pharmacology. So just push the button forward. I think your slide will come up.
All right. Good. I'm William Boyd. I work in the Center for Drug Evaluation and Research, and we're also reorganizing. But the good news for you today regarding lunch is I can only show you 2 slides because I'm only allowed to tell you what's been publicly made available about our reorganization. So I had to pull these from the FDA Twitter feed, so I apologize if they're a little bit blurry. Since January 2018, we've been reporting directly to the Office of New Drugs. Previously, we resided in the Division of Transplant and Ophthalmology Products, which was located in the Office of Antimicrobial Products in the Office of New Drugs in Cedar. And we're halfway done. And this is the proposed reorganization. And we're now going to be located in the Office of Medical Specialties, which is on the right. And if you follow that down, there's a Division of Ophthalmology, and I hope we get to be the Division of Ophthalmology Products, but we'll see. We're also with medical imaging. I don't have a timetable for when this reorganization will take place, but we are already independently operating under the Office of New Drugs. Our ophthalmology drug products, we no longer go through an administrative process with non-ophthalmologists. That's actually all I can say about my reorganization. Sorry, but I'm happy to answer any other questions.
Okay, thank you. So I have a couple of questions just to ask you. So what about something that combines a device and a drug? So maybe there's all kinds of options. How do you manage that?
There are a lot of options. You're talking about a drug and device combination.
Right.
And depending on the primary mode of action of each of those elements, a decision's made about which center will take the lead in the evaluation of that combination. An example, Visudyne, older product. Cedar took the lead because the Visudyne was considered the primary mode of action. It was activated by light. It's not always that simple, but there's a group that helps make the determination about what the primary mode of action is and which center should take the lead.
So if you're looking for help when you're first starting, you kind of think of where you should go, or where do you go?
You can request a determination from the Office of Combination Products, and they will help with the determination. Sometimes it's relatively clear-cut, sometimes it's not. So yes, that can need to be defined.
And one more quick one, and then we'll have lunch, and that is, what about cells And products that come out of cells, secresomes, genes, and the like, where do they go?
We're drugs, and then there's the Center for Biologics. And if it comes out of a person, it's a biologic. So a different center. And we're frequently consulted by that center if they have an ophthalmic question. I believe they are currently looking for ophthalmologists too. Sorry, Malvina. But a different group of folks, and we are frequently involved with that too.
You end up advising them at some level.
Correct.
Yeah. Because we have lots of that coming, right? So.
We
in the field, I mean.
yes.
Yeah. So wonderful, fantastic, and let's go have lunch and network. Thank you very much.
Thanks.